Hello, everyone. You're very welcome to our sign language class this morning. My name is Anthony, and I'm with a female interpreter, Alison. And if it's your first time joining us, you're very, very welcome. So you will see two of us on the screen. The reason being that I'm your BSL tutor, so I'm going to be teaching you sign language, and the interpreter will be translating into English for you to make it accessible for everyone. So if you're a regular participant, lovely to see you back again with us. I'm based in Belfast, and we always talk about the weather. We must talk about the weather. So today in Belfast, it's a bit miserable. Unfortunately, it's quite dull. It's starting to drizzle a little bit. A bit cloudy, so not so good. Hard to believe that we are in June already. I went for a walk after I dropped off my three children to school this morning, and I was walking along and I'm thinking, my goodness, I need a coat and it's June. I should be in t-shirts and I should just be enjoying the lovely weather. I should have my sun cream on, but unfortunately, well, no, I don't miss not having to put sun cream on, but it should be a little warmer and hopefully it will warm up soon. So let me explain the plan for our session today. So I'm going to teach you some signs that perhaps are relevant to care homes, and some vocabulary that you might find useful if you are wanting some vocabulary to do with that. Recently, there was a deaf couple in a care home that I visited, and they wanted me to teach the staff some signs that would be useful to just to communicate with them whenever they were in their everyday duties. So, I want to also talk a little bit about the experience of a deaf person in a care home, and then we'll learn some vocabulary. But if there's anything else specific today, please put it in the chat box. I'm very happy to teach you new signs that you want to know, anything that might be relevant to you. So, good morning, Moira. Lovely to see you. So, it's cold with you as well. And hi, Joan. Good morning. And you're having lovely weather. Just remind me again, Joan, where you're based. And you've been out already on your mobility scooter this morning. That's brilliant. And good morning to you, Kellyanne, as well. It's good to see you back with us again as usual. Hope you had a really good holiday. Please tell me again because I forgot where you went on holiday. Remind me again, please. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of a feeling about what it's like to be deaf and in a care home. Obviously, being in a care home is pretty traumatic for everyone who has to leave their own home and where they've been used to living for all their years and then moving somewhere completely different with a new group of people. And it does help when the staff are lovely and friendly and you can meet new faces and meet new people. But obviously, lots of people have quite challenging experiences as well. I know there are times when there's storytelling, there's games nights, and there's lots of activities, and you can talk about the past, the 1950s and the 1960s, and how things have perhaps changed, and listen to each other telling stories about families, which can be very enjoyable as well. But for a deaf person, you can imagine what it must be like. So if there's a room available in a care home, perhaps, and someone has to go into residential care as a deaf person, it can be very difficult. And I'm going to talk about a deaf couple that I know who moved into a care home. One of them had to move into one care home, and the other one was moved somewhere different. So this deaf person was in the care home, and no one really understood what it was like to be deaf. So there was very little communication. It was very, very hard to communicate with staff. They would find it very difficult to communicate with the deaf person. So you can imagine how much of a challenging experience that was. And also not just for the deaf person, but for everyone involved. So you can imagine how difficult it is for anybody to move into a care home, but it's doubly difficult for someone like a deaf person who is going to become very, very isolated. So, for a deaf person in their everyday life, think about perhaps the choices that you would make. If you go to an event, you can go there and it's accessible, but for a deaf person, they have to choose whether it's accessible. So they don't always have the options that a hearing person would have to go and enjoy all these various events. So we have to control our choices as deaf people where there's access. And for a deaf person going into a care home, you can imagine everybody's chatting around them. They don't really have a choice. They just have to kind of just manage, but it's exhausting. Imagine if they have to sort of stay in their bedroom because they're so anxious about perhaps, mixing in the common room with other people. They may be very shy. Um, and you imagine how overwhelming it must be for the staff to come and talk to them, and they don't really know what's going to happen. So again, it's because of limited access. They're not sure what's going on or how long they're going to be there, or what's going on, or they can't join in with all those normal things that we take for granted. So if you're a hearing person, you will hear all this conversation going on around you. You'll hear people laughing and joking and talking, or saying sad stories. But imagine a deaf person having to actually work all that out from facial expressions and what's going on every day by day, week by week. It just becomes exhausting. And I think, you know, it's just so difficult for them to have to work out what's going on. And a lot of feedback has come from care homes to say how difficult it is to be a deaf person in a care home. And I don't mean to sound like it's an awful experience, but a hearing person can chat away and relax to a new friend that they've made, where for a deaf person it can be so isolating, having to try and work out double effort really. So if you're thinking about yourself, um, trying to perhaps have a conversation with a deaf person, if you're not a fluent signer, how basic the conversation might become. And a deaf person will, again, if they're trying to liaise with a hearing person that doesn't sign, it can be doubly difficult for both. But again, it's back to choice. That deaf person didn't really have the choice, and so they're there having to manage. And so that can affect lots of areas of their life. Their well-being, their mental health can often suffer as a result of this lack of communication. So the care home had asked me to teach some basic BSL to the staff members who work there in this residential care home. So I was very pleased to do that. We had a 6-week course and everyone really enjoyed it. And I think it made a massive impact on most of the staff. So we did some deaf awareness, and lots of people were very unaware that they could tap a deaf person on the shoulder to get their attention. So we talked a lot about deaf culture and what was appropriate and how to make eye contact to get the deaf person's attention. Perhaps if someone is walking with a walking aid or whatever and they're too far down the corridor to get their attention, you can't shout at them if they're deaf. So again, flashing lights and all that kind of thing is often part of deaf culture. So I explained all that to them, and I explained about how at meal times it's okay to tap the table. So you can tap on the table to alert the deaf person to feel the vibration if you want to sort of just explain something to them. So we talked a lot about deaf culture, which I think made a really big impact on this particular care home. And so they started to implement a lot of these tips, tapping the deaf person on the shoulder to get attention, switching the lights on and off to get their attention, things like that. And then I began to teach them some basic signs. So we started with the alphabet, we did some greetings. And then after 6 weeks of me just going there to have the sessions, then I just began to visit, and actually had made a massive difference in how the staff were able to communicate with the deaf person. So even in the living room or in the kitchen, people were able to say hello to each other. And it just really made the deaf person's day, just for someone to be able to ask them how they are, how was their day. And and it does make a massive difference. So a little bit of sign language, please understand that it does make a massive, massive difference. And it's lovely to see that whenever it makes the deaf person's life so much richer. So we do some basic sign language and some deaf awareness with care homes. And so that makes a massive difference to people who live there. They can get on with their normal life and respect their language and respect their culture and feel very much a part of everything. And it's no one's fault that this hasn't happened. It's just, I suppose, lack of awareness. But my aim is to raise awareness. So just thought that would be interesting to share with you in relation to how we have been working with some care homes. So, Kellyanne, oh, you've been to Zakynthos, if that's how you pronounce it. That's a lovely place. I've been there before, maybe 20 years ago now, but it is a beautiful island. I'm sure it was really warm and actually and probably really sunny and lovely beaches. I hope you had some nice swims. And Joan, thank you for telling us where you're based. You are near the coast of Norfolk. So that's, let me think, is that just above London or near Ipswich? Is it, I think, if I'm right? Somewhere around that area. I'm not very good with geography of England, sorry. But I would say you're fairly near London. You're fairly far south anyway, so I think that's probably where you are. Okay, so I'm going to teach you some signs this morning. We've got some different words, some vocabulary that might be appropriate for use in a care home. So again, I'm going to probably use the most common signs for the majority of you if you're based in England. If you want to know the Northern Ireland variation, I can give you that. I'm not 100% sure on the Scottish and Welsh variations, but I'll probably be more than likely using mostly English signs. So this is care, care. So that's the sign for care. And home, home. So a care home. And the sign for staff, staff. Again, there are regional variations. Some regions you will find that people fingerspell the word staff, but we'll use this one for staff today. And the sign for place, place. And facilities or facility. That might not be one that you would use very often, but family, family. So that sign moves in a circular motion for family. Now I'm going to describe the different rooms that there would be in a care home. So living room, again living, so it's your middle finger, and that's a sign for living and room. So the room is just drawing a square box in front of you. So living room. And kitchen, kitchen. So that's your K. And for kitchen, you just make the K sign twice or tap twice. And then bed, bed and bedroom, bed and bedroom. And hallway or hall or corridor, hall or corridor. And then the sign for like, 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 and don't like, don't like. I like and I don't like. So it could be if you're offering a person some food or asking them if they like or don't like, or maybe it could be in relation to people, but that's a joke. And then good, good, and bad, bad. Maybe a bad day or a good day. And a bad day and a good day. And this again is how are you? Are you well? It's your greeting. Are you well or how are you? Okay, let's recap on these. So care home, and staff, staff, family, and living room, living room, kitchen, kitchen, and bedroom, bedroom. Hallway or corridor, hall or corridor. Like, like, and don't like, don't like. So this is the sign for bathroom, bathroom, or bath and then bathroom. You're drawing the square for the room. So bath, room. And toilet, toilet. So don't confuse living or live. It's going up the ways, and toilet is a downward motion. Same hand shape, but it's a slightly, it's moving down the ways. Good. A good day. And a bad day. Bad day. And are you well? Or how are you? Are you well? Okay, so let's do some more. Please let me know if there's any other words that you want. Just type them in the comments box, or ask me any questions you want. Please just ask anything you want to know. So time, perhaps you want to say it's time to go, or it's time for bed, or time for food, time for breakfast, time for lunch, time for dinner. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, so this is your cereal bowl, if you imagine holding the bowl like this and then the spoon. So lunch is usually probably a sandwich or a snack, so that's just eaten with your hands like that. And then dinner, that's your knife and fork or your cutlery. So that's dinner. So time for breakfast, time for lunch, and time for dinner. Or time for bed. Or time for stories, story time. Time for activities, activities. Or time for games, time for games. Time for reading, so that's a sign for book, and then reading, a book, and reading. Oh, Joan, good point. You've asked for medication, so that's how we sign medication. Medication. So those are perhaps some useful words. So another one might be love. You might find useful in this context. Love. And care. Care or caring. Care. Good morning, Jean. You're very welcome to our session, and you're from Kent. Lovely area. Lovely to have you with us. And then visitors or visiting. So this is you visiting a care home. And if it's the other way around, coming towards your body, this is called a directional verb. So it signifies who's visiting who. So if you're coming to my house, you're visiting me, towards me. And if I'm going to yours, then I'm visiting you. So it's outward from my body. So that's called a directional verb. So if I'm visiting a person or they're visiting me, or they're a visitor to the care home, the verb goes in the direction of who's visiting. Wonderful. Wonderful. And memory. Memory. So if you can see that sign, that's memory. And clean. 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 On dirty. So dirty slightly different. Dirty and clean. So dirty and happy. 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 And sad. Sad. Again, happy and sad. Upset. Upset. Angry. Angry. and confused, confused. So let's go over these again. That was happy and sad, angry, upset, and confused. So those are emotions that we're learning. Okay, so let's go over these again. So that was visit, visit or visitor, and love, love, caring, caring, activities, activities, and games, games, story, story, and books. So that's reading, reading a book, wonderful, wonderful, memory, memory, and clean, clean, and dirty, dirty. Happy, happy, sad, upset, angry, confused, confused. Oh, thank you, Joan. You're asking for music therapy. So music therapy, therapy. So music therapy. Yeah, I think that's the most commonly used sign for therapy. Music therapy. Okay, so we'll do a few more and then that's us finished. But if there's anything more specific you want or any other questions, again, please type them in the comments box and I'll happily answer them. So always, 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 and recommend, recommend. So that's your R, and then you move your hand outwards. So that's the sign for recommend. Or advise, advise. People, people. And man, man, and woman, woman, man, and woman. Day, day, and night, night. So day and night. And nice, nice. And lovely, lovely. watch. So watch TV. Watch TV. Okay, so I'm going to go through everything again just one more time, and hopefully you can follow along. And then I think that's plenty for today. Okay, so we started off with care home, then staff, place, facilities, home, family, living room, bedroom, bath and bathroom, kitchen, hall or corridor, like, don't like, good, bad, are you well or how are you, time, breakfast, breakfast time, and lunchtime, and dinner time, and bedtime, or time for stories, time for games, time for watching TV, and time for reading. Then always, care or caring, love, food, activities, recommend, advise, medication, music therapy, visitor, wonderful, memory, clean, dirty, people, happy, sad, upset, angry, confused, day, night. Okay, that's a lot of words today. So hopefully you enjoyed learning those signs today with us. That vocabulary, as I said, is relevant to a care home. So they're all very important words, and I hope that made sense to you, and I hope you understood what I was talking about and how the experience is for a deaf person and how isolating it can be for them when they have to move into a care home. And there are many, many deaf people in care homes and very isolated. So it is very important for them to have visitors, to encourage them and to be able to use their sign language and talk with them and to keep building up their confidence. And it's very important that we spread the word and deaf awareness in care homes as much as possible. And a little bit of basic BSL goes a long way to make sure that the resident in the care home feels included. So you are very welcome today. Thank you for your comments. So Joan and Jane, thank you both. So I think that's us finished for now. I want to say thank you to everyone. I want to say thank you to the Royal Voluntary Service for giving me the opportunity to teach BSL and to give you a little bit of explanation about deaf culture and the importance of deaf awareness within different parts of our community. So, hope everyone has a lovely weekend. Fingers crossed the weather improves. I know you're probably pretty warm in the south of England, but hopefully it'll spread up to the rest of us in the other parts of the UK as well, and Northern Ireland and Scotland. Hopefully, we get a bit warmer too. Moira, yes, thank you for your comments as well. It was very interesting to learn about the care home sign. So, also thanks to the interpreter, and have a great weekend. See you all next time. Take care, everyone.